Also, by the way, guys, if you didn't know, one of our annual traditions is marathoning the Twilight movies on Valentine's Day. Okay, we are not doing 50 Shades of Grey though, because 50 Shades of Grey is not even good bad. It's just terrible bad. Did you know that Grey is the guy's name? As in Christian Grey? Yeah. The part of the reason I'm not a huge fan of 50 Shades of Grey is it was a not great fan fiction of Twilight with barely changed characteristics. Barely. I don't know. There's just I feel like part of the reason fan fiction is enjoyable is because you know the context of the characters before you start. So I feel like reading 50 Shades of Grey without the context of knowing that it was Twilight actually takes what little depth it did have out of it. But the number one reason that I do not like 50 Shades of Grey is that it contains really, really, really bad BDSM practices written in a way like, it's not that you are not allowed to write a story with bad BDSM practices, but it's not portrayed as bad practices. It's not even a little bit like, it's all portrayed in a way like this is the way BDSM is supposed to work inherently. Like it's sort of implied in the universe. You're like, this is what BDSM is. It's like, it would be like a story that had sexual assault that wasn't portrayed at all like that. And instead, like the author was clearly like, this is romantic, right? So it's not that people are not allowed to write about bad things, because I love reading about bad things, but it has to be kind of inherently understood from the writer's perspective that it is a bad thing. If the writer thinks it's a good thing, then it is kind of portrayed in the story as like, this is normal and good. And you're like, no. Oh, no, it's not. No. And a lot of people read it and were like, this is how things work. They went to stream to watch two different people, both sides thought the other person was Lord good enough. Please stuff is finding depiction of BDSM. Yeah. Yep. I wouldn't even call it fetishizing. It's just sharing bad practices. And everyone who injured themselves experimenting the cable ties in the bedroom because of the book, there's indirectly a victim of 9/11. Jesus. I wouldn't call it 50 Shades of Christian. That's probably about Martin Luther. Oh my God. BDSM is incorporated by most people. 50 Shades made it worse. Yes, exactly, Sarant. Writing about bad things like they're not bad things. So say what you will about how bad the BDSM for 50 Shades of Grey, and it is bad. It was the thing that brought BDSM and got more people exploring. Yeah, I don't think it was worth it. I just don't think it was worth it. Because like, it's the practices were so bad that I feel like the damage was greater than the exposure, the positive exposure would have been. You know, if there's gonna be a book to blow up about BDSM, like let it actually talk about actual BDSM stuff. And even possibly show the character like, you know, even if the character has a bad experience, like let it be portrayed as a bad experience. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly. I would have been perfectly fine with 50 Shades of Grey never becoming a thing ever. Wasn't worth it. Even Danger thing, it was normal with other people. Well, I feel like it's probably the number one is like couples trying it together based on the book. People don't understand me is highly coordinated and disciplined and centers entirely around trust. It's not about subjugation, it's about power exchange. Safe exists for a reason. The power can be revoked the moment someone feels uncomfortable. Yes. And there's also like a lot of the stuff, like I've talked about this on stream before, where I feel like if you're having conversations with normies, I feel like one of the things that comes up first is like a joking reference is like, aha, you know, oh yeah, you go and date some crazy girl and the first thing she wants to do is be choked in bed. Like choking for some reason is one of the first associations people have with BDSM. And if you go into the world of BDSM and people who do it, the community that centers around kink and BDSM, one of the things you'll learn is that choking is like breath play is edge play, and edge play is dangerous stuff. And so like that's not something where they're like, haha, let's start off with choking. Like that is very dangerous stuff that requires a lot of education and learning and stuff like that, and is not treated lightly by anyone. But for some reason it's one of the first things people think of when they think of BDSM. So that's a good example. But even stuff like impact play, you know, thankfully spanking someone on the butt with your hand is relatively safe, but a lot of impact play should have some education behind it. Even if say you want to use just like a paddle of some kind on someone's butt, there are ways to aim the hits to reduce the chance that you're going to cause joint issues. Because if you just do straight, like if you imagine someone on all fours and you imagine a straight horizontal hit right to their bum, the impact, the energy is sending it straight up the spine. Whereas if you swing it and you kind of hit, so you're aiming a little bit upwards, a lot of the energy is just going to go up into the butt cheeks and just kind of like, you know, flop around rather than sending it straight into their spine, if that makes sense. So those are things that you can learn by joining the kink and BDSM community and going to workshops and stuff like that to learn about how to hit safely. God forbid anywhere other than the butt cheeks or the thighs or something like that. You know, anyone who's like, oh, I want to do like flogging, but like in your back and shoulders. Oh my God, you got to get learned about this stuff because there's so many organs and things like that that can be like, you know, important. That's why yaoi paddles were so bad, right? Not necessarily because of the education, but the consent. The consent was the biggest issue with them. Like, it was like, yeah, education too, but it was the lack of consent that was the biggest issue with them. Spinal disc compressions, yeah. So generally, like, spanking someone with your hand is relatively safe, but even then you can learn how to do those hits so that you're not hitting into the spine, you're sending the energy into soft tissue. And so the number of people who are interested in like kink and BDSM, and you're like, oh, have you ever been to a munch before? And they're like, what? And if you don't know what that is either, it's kind of like, oh God. Like, if you really want to do anything of like any kind of like cool stuff, you got to be going to get educated and go to workshops or go to your local, you know, there's kink conventions and BDSM conventions and stuff like that. But typically there are people who are very willing to teach, and there is so much safety involved with a lot of this stuff. So yeah, so if someone's going to have a really hot novel blow up, please include a little bit of that in that so people know where to start looking. Conventions began banning it in the late 2000s in response to reports of their misuse, harassment, as weapons. Individuals suffered a shadow after being struck. Yeah. Yeah. It's just consent. Just consent. Yeah, nerve damage. Oh my God. Here's another really popular trope that is so bad, which is handcuffs. Handcuffs are bad. Fuzzy handcuffs are pretty much just as bad. If you want to do stuff like that kind of thing, it's safe. It's like you should get like wide leather cuffs that kind of spread the pressure. Handcuffs are so bad and they're so popular in pop culture. Anyway, I've been put in handcuffs so many times. Like metal ones? That's so dangerous. All right, we missed it. I would be so careful in the future with those. It is so easy for those to cause nerve damage or actual long-lasting damage. Those are not safe. Yeah, leather cuffs, especially leather cuffs with like some kind of like padding or lining are much safer. You can get actual handcuffs as long as they're double ratcheting ones that don't retighten. It's not so much the retightening DPOMs, it's like the lack of spreading of pressure. Like it's not about the handcuffs themselves being tight, but it's if someone's yanking against them, that type of sharp metal edge digging into your skin during, you know, fun time activities. That's the issue. It's that the pressure isn't spread well. I guess if they're super easy to break, but like if they had to break, like they'd have to break on pretty light pressure, not on hard pressure. The number one thing, Gamery, that if I could pass on, it'd be like, go find out where your local munches are and join them and meet a community, because the thing about having a broad community for this type of thing is they have access to resources that you might not. So like educational this or that, especially more casual ones than like conventions and stuff like that. But the other part is also accountability, which is that when you meet a broader community, they can help protect you against bad actors who are pretending to be a part of the community. So this is that's maybe more so if you're trying to find people to do BDSM stuff with, but it's like anytime you have a situation or this type of setting, there's always going to be people who are trying to take advantage of others, and having a broader community, they can be like, hey, just so you know, you should avoid so-and-so. And here's why. You know, they had these issues, this and this got reported, blah, 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 blah. And so they will help keep you safe from sneaky bad actors. And so that's a big thing about it. Now, I guess it's different if you're like, no, I already have a spouse and it's just us who are gonna play with each other. But even then, they can still hook you up with good practices. And, you know, sometimes it's easier for one or the other partner to like talk to others who do the same thing and get tips and stuff like that. Handcuffs and nerve damage because your nerves are very near wrist, it's very easy to cause long-term damage. Yes, I really, even if they're easy to, unless they're literally made of like delicate plaster and break at the slightest pressure, I would recommend getting cuffs made of leather instead, broad leather cuffs. If you fuck up in one of them, you'll not be back in. Yes, some of them want to use it, some of them want to use it. No, thought criminal. You're showing the subject is really hit or miss when it comes to what's safe. Yeah. Well, and the truth is, the funny thing is because a lot of good BDSM practices are not very sexy. Sometimes it's like sitting around with some people where you're like, you could be like my mom or my dad as they're like talking about safe practices and stuff like that. Like, it's not sexy at all, but it's real life. For a whole different stuff, please get consent from everyone when you engage in exhibition stuff. Yes. Fortunately, not all communities are good about this either. But the great thing is if you find a good community, you can kind of get into like exhibitionist stuff within that community where they set up like a place designed for it, you know? Then it's like you get the best of both worlds. Enjoyed Shibari classes. They were definitely not what I called sexy as a class, but they were fun. Too bad I can't remember check about now, so I have to go look up every time. Yes. Yeah, this is the crazy thing about a lot of like the kink and BDSM stuff is like the stuff where you learn about safe spanking. It's like the least sexy class ever. You know, you have people who are asking, like, it's like everyone's there sincerely to like learn, and it's very minimally sexy. Like they're often like cracking jokes and stuff like that. You can have a fully naked person getting spanked and moaning in front of you, but because it is genuinely so educational, you're kind of just like, oh yeah, oh that's interesting. And every now and then maybe the instructor like cracks a joke or something like that. But yeah, that's why it's not particularly sexy. It's very good for learning. But also the ads are about to start, so I'm gonna send you guys off to Words on Stream for 2 rounds, and I'll see you guys after the ads are done. Bye-bye.